Okay, so let me jump right in and start talking about what we're doing here. So, you know, a lot of you know that I went on that 500 texture journey. I've got them all here. And so as a part of trying to get better at art in general, of course, but also to really feed that imaginative side, I started doing these textures, and it was really just one step in the process to get me to the point where I felt comfortable describing different surfaces. So, let me give you a little insight into this. I'll show you. For anybody that doesn't know, my training primarily was classical in nature. So paintings like this. Here, let's look at this. Like this kind of painting, like still lifes like that. When I was first starting, I was doing drawings like this. You know, cast drawings like that or whatever. I was doing things like that. Just a lot of still life work and different things like that. I would do portraits as well. Here's like a portrait of my wife that I did, a while ago. Stuff like that. A lot of alla prima paint work. And so I wanted to build that imaginative side. And that imaginative side, it requires some different skill sets. And so I started breaking it down, what I needed to do to build up that side of my knowledge, or that area of my knowledge. And textures was one of them. So I started kind of going down this route, and I thought, all right, I'm gonna start doing some textures. I'm gonna start learning how surfaces work and how artists were able to describe them very simply. And it kind of took off, and I ended up being in a class on Schoolism, as some of you know, and which is great. It's been awesome. I've actually had a ton of fun. I didn't even expect it to be a class or anything like that. And the more I did it, the more Bobby was like, hey, you should make a class out of this. And so this was number 500. For any of you guys that didn't see number 500, there's number 500, where basically I combined a bunch of different textures and put them all together for a self-portrait, which is my wife has whatever that condition is that makes it so, when there's patterns, like organic patterns, it makes you uncomfortable. I can't remember what it's called. Tryptophobia, that's what it is. And this triggers it so bad for her. But a lot of you have seen over the months, like me, I would live stream a lot of this, like all these different textures and stuff like that. And so there's a lot that I learned by doing these textures, that like it was filling out that side of my knowledge set. But also there were unexpected things that I was learning, like how to render properly, how to simplify actually as well. Like I learned how to simplify, how to really just break something down to what its key elements are. And that was tricky. Like, how do you break down a plastic bag where it's very loose? Like you can see that's very loose, but how do you break that down in a way where you can understand what's happening and then absorb that information and use it later? So and I would like to do I liked to do things in different states. Like I would do the toast in the normal state, the toast with butter, like slightly browned, and then the toast black, and try to figure out what's the difference, right? How is it different? And I did all sorts of textures, all different types, and then I would get on a kick and be like, I need to do liquids, so let's do liquids. And this one's a little more cloudy. Right here is a little bit more cloudy. Like then we've got one with eyeballs in it and all this, so fun stuff. I even did the fried chicken head that caused a lawsuit at McDonald's. I did that one too. That's why I probably caused a lawsuit there. So anyways, this textural information, what I found was, like, when I started to do a bunch of them, it started to I started to find common things. I started to find common things from one texture to another, and it allowed me to absorb that info. But I started that common knowledge that I saw from one texture to the next allowed me to start using it in the work that I was doing. So a lot of times I would do like a quick little sketch or do something funny, and people would be like, oh, that's that's so textural, so textured looking, and things like that. And what I found was, especially with monsters and creatures and things like that, one thing that's hugely important is that textural component. And so that's what I want to try to bring into this sketch. I can render all this the same. Let's say I just rendered all this the same. I just used like an airbrush, right? Or something like that. And I just would come over and use an airbrush and kind of, just take this and be like, go over top of everything. And let's see if I can actually, oops, Let me turn this on so I can. I'm using my new Sense Lab gear. Look at this thing. Super awesome. Look at that. I've got this like so I can roll this wheel and change the size. I've also got it like programmed. You can see how I've got it programmed for the different things. I just keep my hand there, which has been pretty awesome. So I'll tell you guys more about that. I've actually got a demo planned for them coming up, which is going to be really cool. So why is this not? Let me see if I can get there we go. I was wondering what's going on. I was like, what's going on? There we go. So I could take the whole thing and sort of, like a lot of times when people are doing digital painting, like they'll start and everything will be sort of the same texture, right? They'll just use like a lot of times it seems like a soft brush, but everything's sort of the same and everything's rendered the same. And have you ever seen those paintings where, people put a highlight on everything, so they learn that like highlights are good or whatever, and then they just put a highlight on everything like this, and do this and this and this and this and everything looks like the same surface, right? It looks like everything's wet or everything's glossy or everything, And one of the cool things about designing creatures or just looking at things, like if you go to the zoo and start thinking about textures and thinking about what you're seeing and really break down what you're seeing, and what you'll realize is there's so many different textures, and like even like the texture of one particular bird's feathers will be different than another, and you'll start to see these differences, and that's really, it's not what makes the character design or the creature design. It's not what is I would say the deciding factor, but it really plays a huge role. And if you start to learn how to break all this stuff down, it's going to make a huge difference. It's going to make a massive difference. And so, I think I think everybody should sort of, you might not have to do the 500 textures like I did. That's definitely pretty far. I mean, if you think about this, like let's say there was 1 hour for each texture, which I think it's probably averaged a bit more than that. Maybe sometimes it was less. Sometimes it took me 20 minutes. Sometimes it took me like 2 or 3 hours for one, because I didn't understand how to do it and redo it. But let's just say it took an hour. That's 500 hours of this. So that's what, 8 weeks of 40 hours a week, right? Is that right? No. So yeah, 500 hours. No. That's not right. So it would be, how many? That'd be 12 weeks, right? No. Wait, hold on. See, this is why I'm an artist and I'm not a mathematician. Let's see. Okay, so if it's 40 hours a week, each month it would be 160, 320, 480. So it's over 3 months. Yeah, a little bit over 3 months. Sorry. No, 40, 80, 160. Yeah, 160 per month is right. Yeah, so if you did it full time gosh, sorry. Work with me, people. Sorry, my brain's in art mode. I really do feel the difference, like when I have to transfer over. I'm not that bad at math, I promise. But I'm not great at it. But anyways, it takes a long time. I should have just said that. 500 hours takes a long time, so not everybody's going to do that. But I would say that everybody should kind of dive in and explore this if you can. I've got a class on this on Schoolism that you can take at your own pace and stuff like that. And it really does make a difference. Like when it comes to these creature designs and different things like that. If you look at someone like Justin Gerard, like in my mind, Justin Gerard is just one of the kings of like making monsters. I mean, his stuff is just so good, and you'll see a lot of textural information on his stuff. Take a look at this, right? So you can see like he's got a lot of understanding of how to paint those scales and how to do different things. I want to try to find some of his so I can show you this stuff. And like a lot of the stuff he has on ArtStation is so good. Here, take a look. I mean, he's, when it comes to textures and comes to things like that, he's, look at that. I mean, look at that. Look at all the different textures that he's, implying there and things like that. Really, really great stuff. So, I think it really does make a difference. So, anyways, that was sort of the genesis of this idea of kind of learning textures, but then to apply it to a monster. So, I want to kind of dive in and do that. But I want to answer some questions first. I want to roll back and see if I can. If you guys have a question too, just put it in capital. Just put question in capital first. That way, when I'm scrolling through, I can see all that. But let me go back. I want to make sure that I'm keeping up with you guys. Oh, the axolotl. Yes, the axolotl ball. Axolotl ball is over here. Yes, this one. This is what I want to do with his skin. I want to do this with this monster's skin. I want it to be like semi-opaque, and I've actually got some reference here. And on the reference, I've got this guy with like veins. You know, it's like a zombie makeup kind of thing with like the veins coming through. That's kind of what I want to get across. There's some, you know, reference with the horns. But the nice thing is, having done these textures, I don't need that much help with stuff. This up here is a called a frigate bird, and this is its neck puff. Like it's like a puffed out neck thing that it blows up. And this would be like where the feathers were, like back there. And I'm going to use that for this section on his head. So I'm thinking like, just like a frigate bird, like, you know, when it gets upset or it gets agitated or whatever, or like, you know, like trying to impress a lady or whatever, it's like, you know, right there, like the same sort of thing, like coming up like that. And then horns and all that. So it's kind of like, I'm angry, you know, and that's coming out, you know, that sort of thing. So, these textural elements are what's going to give this monster like a distinct look. That's what's going to make it look much more distinct. And I want to try to have some color change and some temperature change, like on this is called a sea pig. This is a sea pig, but this temperature change that's down here, like from the purple to the red and stuff like that, I want to get across. So so all of those elements can come together, and then you might have a cool design, right? You might have a cool design. You might be able to draw something really well. You might have, really good line work and stuff like that. But getting that textural element just kicks it up a notch. And I would imagine I would want to talk to some 3D guys and some people who are part of the game design process. But that's going to give them even more information down the road. If they have to design something for a game or a creature that's going to be coming after people or whatever, like knowing a little bit more about the textures that make it up will make it easier for them to do their job. And so, anyways, that's the genesis of all this and the idea and where it started, and that's what I want to do. So let's get rolling. I want to answer your questions though. Let's see. Oh, because of you, I've been pushing my realistic digital paintings. ZK the artist, nice. That's awesome. That's great. I'm glad to hear that. All right. What's up, Joby Door? Oh no, you're on your way to work. Oh, don't crash. Don't crash if you're on your way to work. Don't worry, Joby. I'm going to be streaming a lot more these days. I'm going to be streaming. All right. Let's see. All right. These are so cursed. Well done. Thank you. I appreciate it. I pay good money for a high-res poster this page. Joby Door, that's coming. The high-res poster is coming. Yes. That, and actually, I'm going to do a poster, but I'm working on a book for this. I'm working on like a coffee table book with all the textures in it. I've got some ideas for that, my friend. So, Lightbox Expo's website is down. Radar Cricket. Oh man, is it really? Oh no. You guys are so awesome, and art. Everybody loves art so much that it crashed it. I bet you it crashed it. Man. Hey, there you go, Inari-kun. 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 That's how I'm gonna say it. It's a sea pig, that's right. Okay. All right, let's see. All right. Justin Gerard is an absolute boss. Like, I would be like, I want to go to his house and just like watch him work and just like, I want to pick his brain. I talked to him actually at an event. It was when I was meeting up with Iris Compete. Iris Compete is how you say her name, but I'm probably saying it wrong, but that's the closest I can get. She's a good buddy of mine, and so I was talking to him there. But okay. Oh, it's crashing. Okay, well, we're gonna keep it rolling here. Vicho, hey, the streams are coming back. Listen, I moved to Texas, and so it derailed me for a little bit. Trust me, like there was a lot going on, but it's coming back. It's coming back. So let's dive into this thing. So what have I done? I did this sketch. I also did this silhouette. Okay, so I've got a silhouette here. I just put a silhouette underneath like this. And what I want to do is I want to kind of define. This is going to give me like a head start on this. I want to define like the overall colors. Now the nice thing is, having done this texture before, I can kind of like start with. I can kind of color pick from that and start with this. Like get it somewhere. Where it needs to be. Let's make a gradient. Let's make a gradient actually. And let's go here, like for this dark, like it's like a gross It's like a gross purple, like a weird clammy. I almost feel like clammy skinned, like weird gross purple. Okay, let's go here with the color. Let's go like, I want it to be more. Color picking doesn't really capture how it looks to you a lot of times. Let's go like right there. And let's just get like a general sort of feel for that. Let's go this direction, right? Just get like an overall. I want to make this darker, actually. Let's make this a bit darker. Oops. Yeah, let's go a bit darker with this. Oops. Keep going the wrong direction. There we go. And I'll have it fall off a bit sooner. Yeah, and this is just going to give me a good basis for the values that I'm going to be using and things like that. I'm going to be jumping in between layers, but I want to work underneath first. But this frigate bird, this stuff's crazy. I got to show you what a frigate bird looks like so you guys have an understanding of this, because it's so wacky. I'll show you. Okay, frigate bird. Check it out. So look at this. So crazy. Look at this. I mean, look at that thing. Isn't that so cool? And look, when it's at rest, you know, it's all floppy like that. It's like real crazy and like it almost looks like a what's it called? The turkey called a waddle. The thing that's underneath there. Like, but pretty cool. Look how far down it can be like that, and it can be sucked in, but then they blow it up like that. So that's the idea with this one. The idea with this is to get that frigate bird looking craziness, you know. All right, so let's get a little bit of that color in there. All right, let's get a little bit of that color in there. And it's got to be red, right? It's got to be red, because if this monster was angry and was, you know, giving us some trouble, you know, he'd be mad. Like it's be like a sign of aggression, you know. But the other thing I noticed about this frigate bird, when like in the lighter areas of that sort of, you know, pouch or whatever, like it would get a little bit more orange. I would notice that too. So I'm going to kind of dive in with a little bit of that. I'm also going to go a bit more blue in this area. I see some blue in that axolotl, like in the transition. I remember painting that too. This is the other thing too. Like you spend time really thinking about these you spend time thinking about these textures, and it sticks with you. Like you see it again, and I'm like, oh yeah, I remember that. And I also want to get the same sort of color for the shadows. So I want to start from a place like this. Let's step back a little bit. I don't want it to be that crazy, but I definitely want it to be warmer, like on the axolotl, but I want a little bit more harsh lighting on this. And these, actually, the horns I want to make a little bit more desaturated. And it's not that I can't adjust this. I'll be able to adjust this later, but I like putting a good color base down to give myself somewhere to go. Let's go here. Like this. And then what I'm going to do is just get a little bit more of the lighting info on this. I'm going to go a little bit lighter. Let's go. Not quite as... Let's go a little bit softer. Let's go there. There we go. Just start to highlight some of this stuff where it would hit. And I've found that giving myself a, you know, like this is sort of like pre-rendering the painting, right? So I'm trying to create transitions. Before I go in and start doing all the work of painting, because if you create these transitions first, a little bit of a transition, it helps you when you can color pick from that transition. You can, you know, work through a bunch of things, and it's much easier. Just gives you a guide. I've been working a lot on my methodology, and how to change that up, how to get a little bit faster, and how to be more efficient with the way that I'm doing things. Because I do like the way that I've painted in the past, but I think digital offers a lot of tools like this. Like creating a silhouette is a real nice shortcut to get there. Let's grab, you know what? Let's grab these nice pinks from the axolotl, like, and let's just say that his nose would be like like, see how like the fins on the axolotl, or or not the fins, the like the gills essentially, I think, but it's nice and red. Let's get some red in there for that. Now the teeth, I want them to be a little bit more of like a yellow base like that. That's gonna be good. Okay, let's zoom in here because I'm gonna have to get a little bit, more careful with this. Let's go a little bit darker with these at first. Yeah, you guys, I'm using this stuff like this. You guys remember when I was streaming before the I've got this, and here's my Sense Lab tablet. You guys remember when I was streaming before? I just want to give them a shout out. Like, they're not requiring me to do any of this. They sent me some of their stuff, and they said they just wanted me to try it out, and I loved it so much. I was like, hey, let's work together. Let's do something for Lightbox. And so I'm doing a portrait of Captain Crunch with them for Lightbox. But the reason I mention it is because you guys know how, like, anybody that had been in my streams before knew how much absolute trouble I was having with all my Wacom stuff. I was super, super frustrated with all that. And this has worked absolutely flawlessly. I just wanted to give them a shout out because they're doing so good. Like, you can see the drivers here are like, it's like, oh man, it's so good. It's so easy. And here's the quick keys. What I have is like these lined up to, I can move my hand from down here. I can move it to the top, and it's kind of the same, except this one's the move and this one's the zoom. So what I do is, like, I hold my pinky down and I zoom in, and then I switch my fingers to the top one and move around. And then if I need to go back, I switch my fingers to the other one and go back. And I don't have to move my hand really to my keyboard for hardly anything. So it's been great. But yeah, I just wanted to give them a shout out because, like, they told me, they were like, listen, don't feel like, because I said, well, I'm not going to, if I don't like it, I'm going to tell you I don't like it. And they were like, no, that's what we want you to do. And then when we were talking about Lightbox, they said, look, don't feel like you have to say anything, and don't, they said, just let it be a natural thing. And I said, yeah, but they're doing such good work. You guys got to check them out because it's really affordable too. That's the thing. It's I can't remember the exact price, but it's $300 some. I have to look it up for their whole kit with all that stuff. And it's so comparable, like, to even like Huion or something like that. And I love it. So anyways, I just wanted to give them a shout out. Like, they liked my work, and they trusted me enough to do an honest review and all that. But I've been having fun using it, and I mentioned it to you guys before because I would mention it like every stream. I'd be like, what the heck, I'd be so mad. Let's make this a little more reddish, and now it looks kind of clownish right now. I know it does. That's okay. I'm not worried about that. I always start off with the colors a little bit more intense. And the reason I do that is because it tends to work out better if you start out much more saturated with the colors. For me, it does, because as I work them up and as I start, doing things like I find that that it gets dull. It gets more dull. So I like to introduce varied colors as well. So I'll take this and I'll stay like somewhat in the same realm, like value-wise. But I'll throw in some other colors, like get some vibration of color, like showing up there. Come down here, like let's get some other colors in there, and so that because most colors, like even skin and things like that, you'll see like with this, like there's lots of different colors showing up. Like it's kind of deceiving when you color pick, because if you look at this, you can see like blues, and there's like more of like a yellowish orange at the edge, like purple, like red, like there's a bunch of things going on. And so very rarely is it just one color. And so you if you're getting the values right, you can vary the colors quite a bit. So, I like to kind of build some vibration into the color. Like, it's the same value, but I just have a little bit of color difference here. And the The red nose is kind of giving it a clown kind of thing. I want to see what you guys are saying. You guys are probably saying the same thing, but I'm not sure I want to do too much of that because it's giving it sort of a clown side of thing, especially with the lips the way they are. You know, so maybe I'll shy away from that a bit. We'll see. It'd be interesting to make his lips darker. You know, we could think about that, actually making the lips pretty dark. That would be interesting too. Let's see. But let me catch up with you guys in the chat and see what you guys are saying. Do you work a lot with work with a lot of brush packs? I have a lot of them. I will jump between them. I have like Gregor Rutkowski's, Justin Gerard's, like I was saying, Houston Sharp's. I have a lot of them, and what I find is like there's Aaron Griffin's, and I've got a bunch of different ones. The Kyle brush ones I love, and I've got a lot of concept brushes. Like I call these like my concept brushes. These are like certain effects, right? So if I need like a certain effect, which you'll see me do, like when I go to the finishing stage of this, you'll see me like I'll grab one of these real quick. Like let's say I wanted to put like stubble on him, right? Like I might grab that kind of a thing to put some stubble on him or something like that, you know. A lot of times I will have like a couple standby brushes, like 4 or 5, and then I will reach through I'll go through these other brush sets to get that one particular thing that I want to do, you know. Like I'll be like, I wish I had a brush that would do this kind of a thing, and I'll end up doing that. So I don't tend to use them for most of the time, but I do think that when I do get to those brushes that are in those packs, like I do think they're important. Like I end up using them, especially when it comes to texture. Like I'll end up using them, but it's more about understanding what the texture, how the texture works, than it is about finding a brush that's just going to duplicate that. You know what I mean? But I definitely do reach for them quite a bit. So yeah, I use a lot of different things. Okay. Yeah, color. So Jan Lucifer, like when you're trying to get colors to match up like that, that's a good question. And you're trying to get the values to work. You can of course you can put a layer over top like this and just fill it with black, and then have it set to I think color, right? And so you can see black and white, what's going on, right? You can see the grayscale of what's happening there. And so you can see, like, I'm staying pretty close, but like in areas like this, it's not quite matching up, right? It's a little bit different. Here, let me go 100% here. In areas like this, it's not quite matching up, right? It's like you've got this border here, but it's very close. It's very close. So you learn, the more you do this, the more you start to learn how to anticipate whether your color is working or not, and whether the value is off or not. You learn that over time. But what I've found is, like, a lot of times people will put in a color like this, right? And they'll put in a color and they'll say, "Oh, that color's totally wrong. That's totally wrong." Actually, no, it's not that off, like color wise. It's just the fact that the value is off. So if you get the value right, now you're like, oh, that kind of works, right? I can come over this a little bit, put that in. Actually, I'm going to leave that. That's kind of interesting. So let's put in some greens there and see if we can match up the values. And if you use the light touch, you can especially do it. If you use the light touch, you can especially, get away with putting in that color. But see how when I color pick, it kind of reduces the intensity and stuff. But a lot of times people think that they've got the wrong color, and they don't have the wrong color. What they have is the wrong value. So if you think about it in those terms, like a lot of times, like, okay, let me just try a different value. It'll help you immensely to figure out what's going on. It's tough though. It takes a bit to get a handle on that. Takes a bit to get a handle on that for sure. Let's make this okay. So I want a bit more of this to come in. Like, maybe it'd be kind of cool if he had like a like a, just sort of like a, not stripes, but like if it was uneven, the transition from that into it, that could be kind of cool. Sort of spotty. Like this. Sort of spotty like this, like this. You know, kind of walk its way down there. See, we're starting to get some interesting stuff here, I think. And this is an experimental phase when you're doing this kind of thing. You know, it's experimental. And it'd be kind of cool to get some of these stripes. Like, see how the axolotl that I did, that texture that I did, has a little bit of those stripes? It's it'd be pretty cool to get some of that. I want to make sure it's the right value, but I don't want it to be right on these. But let's say that it went in like this and kind of came in like that. Let's dial those back a bit, but that's kind of cool. We could get this to get these like sort of stripes. It's like veiny down there, which is interesting. Okay, let's do this. All right, let me check out, make sure you're I'm getting your questions as well. Jan Lucifer, yeah, no problem. Glad to help. Okay, I'm rolling back. Question: when approaching a new texture, how do you break it down? Ooh, good question. Very, very good question. In my class, I'll give you guys a little preview. All right, I'll give you a little sneak peek. You guys are you get the sneak peek. All right, let me show you here. Let me grab it. Okay. Let's see if I can. Let's see if I think I've got the I've got this breakdown. So here, let's do, because I want to show it to you because it'll make sense. It'll make more sense if I show you this. Yeah, so I think I've got the gold classification here. Well, actually, I've got one of the videos from it, so I'll show you this. Hold on one sec. Sorry, reaching into the vault here. Hold on. So here, let's make this smaller. So I want to show you one of the videos from there, right? So look at the classification that we've got here. So this is gold, and we've got reflectivity, gloss level, age, weathering, transparency, silhouette, edge breakup, local value, and color. So all of these things put together, when it comes to a texture, are how I sort of categorize it in my head. In my head, I'm thinking, this is, all these things need to be considered. And one thing that was like very surprising to me that really made a massive difference was the silhouette. The silhouette plays a huge role, and I never would have expected, like, to communicate texture you need the silhouette, but it really is. The edge breakup, that's explained more in the class, but that's going to be basically, is it soft like cotton, or does it break up and is it rough like a rock? The local value makes a difference. If you make something too bright or too dark, naturally, like if you get the values wrong, you can make it completely wrong, and it won't look like what it is. If you have iron and you make it super bright when it shouldn't be, it's gonna read wrong. The color, gold obviously is here. If I made this green, does it look like gold? Absolutely not, right? So color, certain ones, color is required. Certain times it's not. But a lot more have color as an absolute prerequisite than you'd think. But let's see here. Hold on one sec. Are we getting some delay? It looks like we might be getting some delay. Hey, what's up, Papoose? Thank you for the donation, Papoose. Sorry if there was a delay. Yeah, it's not on my end, but there might be something. Hold on. Thank you so much, though. And also, I need to mention this. Papoose said, I just wanted to say, I love my girlfriend, Liana. She watches the stream. Fantastic. I'm glad to hear it. I'm so glad to hear it. Let me do a couple things to see if I can help with this weirdness that's happening. Okay, but let me go back. So anyways, with this, reflectivity is how much of the how much of the world is showing up in that object, how much of the world is reflected in that object. Like you know, a chrome ball is going to be, you know, 100% like chrome ball is going to be totally, you know, reflecting the world that's around it, just a little bit darker. And, you know, there's varying degrees of that. Gloss level has a lot to do with the highlight, how light bounces off that. Age weathering is self-explanatory, and transparency is how much you can see through it. So all that plays a huge role. And I think, actually, while I had that video open, it was kind of messing things up, and so I'm not going to do that again. So sorry. But Sacred Templar said, I guess real wrong colors would be like having reflected colors in the wrong place. But there was another question. Here it is. LISECH01. Lisech 01. How to tell between wrong color versus wrong value. Is there such a thing as wrong color? I don't think there's such a thing as wrong color. I just think it's what you want. So for me, I don't think there's necessarily a wrong color, because the second I say that, somebody will come and use a color that I would not have expected, and it will be fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. So I actually think it really just comes down to what you want to get across with that particular thing. And so I would say there is no wrong color. There's only maybe questionable choices, or does it feed your overall goal? That's the idea. Does it feed your overall goal? And does it make sense with what you want to convey? So for me, again, what I'm trying to convey is sort of a gross, like semi-translucent skin tone that it's a monster, right? And I want it to convey sort of like almost like a dead-like feel to the creature, somewhat like a dead-like feel, and more scary, and almost like not like a zombie, but like something that has a little bit of putridity. Is that a word? Putridity? A little bit putrid, right? I want to convey some putrid nature to this guy. So that's why I'm picking colors that are like, like these cools. Cools for skins are like, for skin is like, oh, something's wrong. It's like a dead body, right? If you made it all blue, that's like a dead body. And so everybody's going to be associating that subconsciously with something that is not alive. And so this kind of gets that across. So, and then this obviously is like this red in the we'll call them the, what is it called? Like the frigate bird, that pouch, we'll call it their pouch. I don't know what it's called, but where's Dave? Dave is here. Dave is right here. I'll show you. There's Dave. Lynn's talking about this guy right here. Dave. One of the textures. So I naturally, there's the shaved cat. That's from my class as well. I demo that in the class. Basically, I take a normal cat, give it hair, and shave it to show it what it would look like. There's other ones that are, usually the liver is one that grosses people out. Where's the liver one? Let's see. I gotta find that. There it is. Nice old liver. That's gross. Crazy, but yeah, Dave's there. So, okay, let's see. Hey, Chantel, thank you so much. You said it was amazing to see me done the 500 textures. I appreciate it. I'm just going through. I probably won't be able to get to everybody too, so feel free to ask twice if I haven't answered your question. So let me know. I'm scrolling back through. I'm kind of struggling with adding contour line into organic form. Can I have some tips? Yes. So that's kind of a tricky subject. It's kind of a tricky, but I think you mean like if you've got like a form and you want to, describe that you're trying to get a proper contour on it. I think what you have to do, like, and this is funny, but I think going from thin to thick like this, if this is what you mean by that, this might not be what you mean by that, but going from thick to thin and learning to do that, like with a pencil, so you're like real thin, and then you're like thicker, and then you go like this, and getting used to that motion and doing that will actually help you, because when you're trying to draw around something and get the, some lines, I think that's what you mean. It's very difficult, and it's like a skill set in and of itself. Scott Robertson actually talks about doing this. He talks about going like this, putting some dots down, and actually doing like a curve in there. And see, I missed a little bit, but like trying to get it to be an even curve in there. Because I think like the contour lines, if that's what you mean, unless you mean something else, you can clarify. But yeah, it's tricky. It's definitely very, very tricky. It just takes some practice, and like it's kind of a skill set on its own. You just kind of have to practice that. But okay. So I got that question about breaking it down and the brush packs. All right. Awesome. Let's go. All right. Okay. Any tips on how to focus on your brushwork and consciously make it better? I know my brushwork isn't great, but in the moment, not sure how to improve it. Yes. I'm actually recording this, so I think I might. I need to render it and do stuff like that, but I might end up putting it up on YouTube later. I'll see what Lightbox, what they want to do with it and everything, and I'll ask them. And then I might be able to put it up on my YouTube afterwards. But I'm definitely recording right now, so don't worry. We're good to go. So now, in terms of your brushwork, I think one of the biggest things you can do with your brushwork is is actually what's underneath the brushwork. So a lot of times people, like when it comes to Sargent, you look at Sargent, you look at his brushwork, what a lot of people don't realize is what came underneath his brushwork was the key thing. So let's just say that this is like a Sargent painting, right? Let's just come in and let's get this painted, and here like this. Let's just get like a generalized, sort of skin tone like this. We'll do it real fast. And you want to get like the transitions working somewhat and everything. Sargent would treat a head like this. He would treat a head just like this and say like, okay, I'm going to paint this like this needs to be warmer, but he would treat a head just like this and sort of paint it up very, very loosely and get the big general things working. Here, let's go to this value and color in the lights. And get the rendering underneath working. Then he would say, like, let's put a highlight in this. Let's put like a little bit of a brighter area on that part of the skin. Like that kind of thing. And let's say it's got some cooler tones in there. I didn't really do much color-wise, but let's put some cooler tones in there and like this kind of a thing, right? So we've got this. Now let's say there's a face like built into this. So he would come in and like put these shadows in for the eyes, like the eye sockets, and like for the nose, like that. And what he would do is make the socket like pretty close to where it needs to be value-wise and color-wise in a very general sense. And then he'd come over it like this and just place one stroke and say like, okay, let's do this. Let's place one stroke like boom. And actually I'm going to go 100% opacity with this. Place one stroke just like whoosh, like that. And then he would modify the edge of that stroke brushwork wise. And everybody's like, oh my gosh, it's just one stroke there. That's it. Right? And then they come here and they're like, and he's like, bam, like that for that stroke. And everyone's like, oh, it's just one stroke. How's he doing it? And you can imagine you can imagine seeing the eye underneath that, right? And then he'd be like, all right, I'm just going to put a highlight right here on the nose and put like a highlight right here. And it's like, oh, there's a nose there. How's there a nose? And so really what the tough part is what's underneath. It's what's underneath that makes it more difficult to do. So you get those you learn how to get those transitions underneath. Then I can put an eyebrow in. Then I can get the right color and the right value, and I can practice coming in and just placing it. And, nope, that's not right. Okay, I need a different color value. Practice placing it and being like, shoof, like that. Okay, that's not too bad. Now I've got that. but there's virtually, you almost always have to adjust your strokes in some way, shape, or form. Like it usually doesn't just like work out like where you don't have to do anything else, you know, like you just place the stroke and that's it. But okay, what's going on here? Come on. What are you doing, Photoshop? What's it doing? Why are you giving me trouble? Hold on. Let me delete this. What's it doing? Hold on. Oh, there we go. I think it's working now. It's giving me trouble. Okay. Oh, I think I was on the wrong layer. That's why. Yeah, somehow. There we go. So, you know, you virtually almost always have to adjust your strokes. You know, so you have to adjust them in some way, shape, or form. But, you know, strangely enough, the best way to kind of get better and get looser with your brushwork is actually to focus on what's underneath. It's very interesting, but that's really, honestly, you have to set yourself up for it. It makes sense, too, when you think about it, because you've got to set yourself up for that one stroke. But then you could just sit there and practice that one stroke over and over again. The other thing that I would do, too, is I would try to duplicate a stroke. So I'll come in like this. I'll grab this and be like put a stroke down. Now I'm like, how would I duplicate that? And I'll come in like this and be like, oh, that wasn't right, you know, and I'll come in like this and be like, what did I do to get that? I kind of turned it, right? Oh, I turned it a little bit. Okay. Like that. And I try to duplicate that stroke with like getting a jagged edge on the other side. And then get like that. So let's go like this. And then like that. Trying to get the same sort of stroke. And you can practice that, you know, and just the stroke itself and do that. And you could, like, it's nice. It's nice to start a session that way. You can just kind of build up to it. But we will be doing some of that here. We'll be doing some of that here on this monster. We're just going to set ourselves up for for it later on. Okay. I want to get a little bit more of these oranges down in these arms. I think these arms it'd be nice to have a little bit of that. So let's do that selection again. Good question, though. Brushwork is a big part of it, for sure. It's a big part of what I do and the way I paint, too. Okay, let's see. Okay. No problem. Rhaegar, no problem. Glad to help. There were some of the spheres. Actually, I think I have on my Twitch thing, you can see like a salamander. That was one of the early ones. But then as soon as I knew that I was going to be doing them for the class on Schoolism, you know, I stopped doing too many. I still did some on the stream, but I stopped keeping them on there. So, because I was using them for the class, you know. But there are some on there for sure. Let's see here. I think I'm going to change the music, what we got. This is like kind of like slow groove. It's fine, but you guys want to hear something a little bit more pumped up? This guy, Harris Heller, created these great albums for you know, for Twitch streamers, so that you don't get flagged with you know, copyrights. Let's do some groove. This is called Groove. This is great. We're gonna do this. All right, let's get some groove going. We're just gonna paint the monster. Ooh, yeah. I probably shouldn't sing with my headphones on because I can't hear myself. I mean, it's not that it'd be good anyways, but... Okay. Let's throw some... You know what? Let's throw some, like... Hey, Ginger Fuzzicle. That is the best name ever. Ginger Fuzzicle. This is definitely looking clownish. I have to be careful. It's definitely looking clownish. I have to be really, like I have to watch out for that. Let's just make this like this. I think making the nose red is, I don't think I can do that. I think I need to make this more, just focus on one thing. Yeah, it'd be nice to get this darker around the eyes, right? Oh, that's creepy. And see, I'm starting off a little bit darker. I'm going to come back in, I'm going to come back in and adjust that and stuff, but that's creepy. Let's go a bit more to this direction. Let's go a little blue with the nose a little bit. Put some bluer features in the face. And there actually is a gold ring in there, but I think I was going to make it gold, which is why I have the gold in here. But what do you guys think? Should I make the ring in the nose black or gold? I'm thinking black now. Like an onyx kind of a thing. What do you guys think? I'm thinking that would be better. But you guys let me know. I'm going to let you guys decide. Gold for the ring, silver, onyx. You guys decide what it should be. Let's go here. Let's get some colors in this. Yeah, there we go. Now we're getting like that kind of, it's like pushed a bit further than the axolotl, than this axolotl one, but it's definitely going to be there. Yeah. And so once I feel really good about the colors and where it's headed, then I'll jump to the next layer and start really, rendering this. There we go. Let's get some funk going now. Gold would stand out, but go with how you feel. Okay, he needs gold. Gold, gold, gold. Ooh, jade. Okay. Okay, Bun Sylvan just like comes in and just, throws it out there. How about jade? Okay, all right. Getting in the mix and shaking things up. I like it. Because now I'm like, all right. This is like Pennywise. It is. With the red. You know what I should do? Maybe these should be like a warmer color, but not quite red. Wonder what it would be like. Yeah, like what if these were more like that? I think that might be a little bit better. Not quite as like brick fire red. I could make them like a neon pink like that. And then we could throw in some purples in the lights. Or let's see if there's so here's an example of what I was talking about, like where I have like spots, like a spot brush, right? So this is like spots. Let's see. Let's see if there's a good one. Nope. Let's put spatter. There we go. Let's get some spatter up in here. But I want that to be normal mode. Needs to be a little bit lighter. Nope, not like that. Okay, let's go like 20% opacity. Here we go. And I'm gonna need to. It could be like, what if it was like a yellow? That could be interesting too. Let's try a yellow. What do you guys think? What color? Like a yellow, like maybe like a little bit tamed down. Like this. It's kind of a gross, like it would kind of like imply like something poisonous or something. That might work. But I don't know, the jade. Jade is fancy too. Exinian, I do paint with feeling, but I do imagine a light source as well. But kind of what I'm thinking about right now is just really like a local, sort of a local color. Like I definitely am going to have for this like a softer, almost like a north light for this character. That's what I'm thinking of, like a softer light, like almost it's daytime, but something's like coming through the like a rock, like outcropping or something. It's kind of coming through it with the green. It kind of conveys like a tree kind of thing. The dark green is nice though. Sick yellow green. Okay, let's try like in between. Let's try in between. I don't want it to look like a tree, but I could also make this a bit lighter, so that could be lighter too. That's kind of cool. Yeah, that kind of works. make these horns a bit more like the original texture that I did. And then make the bottom a little bit warmer. Yeah, that could be cool. Yeah, let's make it like a sick kind of yellowish green. That's kind of cool. I like that. I like that. And then I think because we went this color, we probably can't do the jade, although it would be good. It looks stinky. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, it looks stinky now. It does. It does. You know, I'm kind of going, I think I'm going to kind of go like what, like sort of like a color scheme that, let's see, who am I thinking of? I mean, I guess there's a bunch of people that do that, but like Vance Kovacs, you know, like that kind of feel, like a Vance Kovacs style sort of color scheme, I think could be pretty sweet. Okay, let's see. Yeah, let's go here and then let's make this a little bit darker. Yeah, that's pretty nasty. And you know what I could do is go a little bit more yellow and let's do spatter. And let's do some spatter. And is this in normal mode? Yeah, there we go. Get some like yellow. Let's make it really big. And I'm going to do it on its own layer so I can erase some of this. Let's go like huge spatter like this. And get some, like, see how that looks. And then we'll just erase this stuff out. Okay, let's go back here. Now, one of the things that's nice that I have set up with this is I have it set up to where there's a clear mode and normal mode on here. So what I do is I've got this, like, this is in normal mode, and if you guys look up here, I can switch it to clear mode with the command, so I can very quickly like use the same brush to erase. It's pretty helpful. You know, I'm using that all the time. Clear mode and normal mode. Okay, so let's say that these would have some lighter areas on them. Like that kind of a thing. Yeah, he does look like he stinks. I agree. Yeah. Okay. All right, I'm getting a good feel. What do you guys think? What do you guys think? Let's see. Yeah, that so I have it, let me see where I have it set. So the clear mode is Alt-Shift-R gets you the clear mode. And then normal mode is Alt-Shift-N. So Alt-Shift-R and Alt-Shift-N. And I think, like, I've got to change my I've got to change the color on here to be gross like this guy. Let's make it green or yellow. Let's make it green. Let's make it bright. There we go. Now I've got green on there to match what I'm painting. All right. Yes. Ooh. So yeah, we could do like a liquid with these. You know, like a green liquid. That would actually be pretty sweet. You know what we could do is actually use one of the textures I have to convey that and make it look like there's liquid in there. That'd be pretty sweet. So like you'd have this. This would be pretty awesome. Like, I like that idea. Like, have a liquid in there. Each one has a liquid in there, and that's we're gonna do that. We're gonna do that. It's a great idea. Like this area down here would be brighter. Like underneath the liquid. So, see, look at you guys. You guys are helping me do it. But see, look, it's all based on this textural knowledge. It really is like I feel very comfortable doing that because I've done it before, you know. So like that, and I could even put like some. I'll still have like the things, but okay. So I need a couple other textures. So there's a couple things I need. I need this. I need one of these in here that I've done like this. This one would be helpful, I think. And let me move this over a bit. And I'll move this one over. The axolotl. Move over, axolotl. What's up, sea pig? Move over a bit, sea pig. Let's move this. Oops. What's it doing? Why is it? What? Okay, hold on. Let me make this smaller. Okay, let's put that there. So we've got that one, and then we'll do that. I think that'll be pretty cool. And I'll still put the highlights on the outside of it, you know, like it's like it distended, like you know, like the or inflated, but it's got that stuff in it. That'd be pretty cool. We just need a liquid. Is there a liquid one? One of these would be good. I think like one of these liquids would be good. Let's do like let's do this one because this one's got stuff in it. Oops. Oops, come on, come on. What? Here, let me get rid of this. Oh, look at it. Look at it without the... That was crazy. I think I'm going to have some slime coming out of his mouth, too. So, that's so funny to see that, just that layer. That's actually more disturbing than... That just goes to show you how much the sketch makes a difference, too. Okay, here you go. Let's put the sketch on top. Ba-boom. There we go. Okay, so, and actually I'm going to probably reduce the opacity of the sketch. I want it there, but I'm going to reduce the opacity of it. Yeah. We'll put it a little bit more like that. Okay. So I think we're getting there. We're getting there. We're getting there. Let's put these textures in with the other textures. Put them in there so they don't get in my way. All right. Stay organized if we can, right? All right. I will never sleep again. I love it. I love it. See, that's how you know when you're kind of like getting something, because seriously, like when people start to feel uncomfortable with it and stuff, and it, you know, you realize like, man, I'm getting something. Let's put some veins here. Veins. Oh, I do have a vein brush. Let's see. Is this veiny? Let's do like a blue veiny kind of. Oh, yeah. That's good. Okay, so watch this. I'm going to do another layer. Yeah, look at that. That's really... Oh, yeah, like that mix of the colors down there. It's like giving him like a... I'm going to put it on the neck more than anything. Ooh, that's weird. So again, this is like a brush that I've saved in the concept brush, and just I named it Vein, you know, so that it would help me like differentiate it. Oh yeah, that's good. That's freaky. Okay, so let's put some... I think we can start... I like this. I like this. So for better or for worse, I think this is going to be good. Let's see when I get some highlights up in here. Like, yeah. Yeah, I think this is going to be pretty cool. This thing's wackadoo. Yeah, the veins are like... And now I put extra ones down because I know like I'm going to be covering some of them, you know. It'd be fun to make some of them like sticking up a bit more though, like they're catching some light. Like this, like it's kind of... That's too bright, but it's catching some light, like that kind of thing. Like, and then it fades because it just... Yeah, like, well, that's weird. That's so weird. I need to make it go around the form a little more, but that's gonna be good. Okay, great. Okay, so let's do this. I think we're gonna do this. All right, let's go on top of this layer, and let's get to rolling. Let's zoom in a little bit, and let's start finishing as we go. go brush. Okay. All right. So I am thinking of like a north light kind of a setup. So I want to get this transition working. I think like having more red around the... It needs to be darker though. So I don't want to violate the value systems that are here. That's one of the key things I'm focused on right now. Is I don't want to violate these value systems. Definitely feel like we need a cool for the inside of the eyes. Okay. Okay. Oh yeah, baby. So see, that work with the values and with everything is coming to fruition now. Like now we can come in and we can start addressing this. Okay, what color should the eyes be? You guys tell me. All right. That's how I feel with the sinus infection. Yeah. Do you know what would be awesome? So what if like we'll incorporate some of this like liquid that's in there. We'll incorporate it in some other areas. Like maybe it's like in his mouth, like it's like kind of like maybe a little bit coming out of the nose and stuff like that. We'll get some of that included. Yeah, we'll have this. I think like a black for this would probably be pretty good. I originally wanted it to be gold and stuff, but I don't know. We could do gold, but I think black just makes more sense maybe. We definitely need some ridges there. Okay, what color should the eyes be? Yellowish, greenish eyes. Okay, something crusty. Okay. Ooh, blood red. That's a good idea too. Let's try both of them. Let's try yellowish and green. Okay, gray would be interesting too for eyes. Gray would be very interesting. Blood red. That's interesting. Blood red is definitely interesting. Okay, let's see some yellow and green kind of conveys the, you know, kind of duplicates that. Oh, that I gotta say, I like that. I did like the red, but the green is like, oh yeah, like that's the ticket right there. All right, let's zoom in. Orangey yellow. Let's try that too. Let's Let's not. Let's do a lot of orange yellow. Yeah, you're right. We got a lot of orange and that's pretty cool too. And it's a little bit different, which is good. Yeah, I think orangey yellow. Let's just kind of lean a little bit that direction. I agree. There's a lot going on with the same colors, which is okay, but so this side would be probably a little bit darker and very saturated, this part of the eye. Like that. We could give him like goat pupils. Like a goat pupil. I think it'd be better if it... So part of the eye is going to be like covered up, I think. But I think we need to make the pupil small. What if we gave him white eyes? Or gray? Like, I didn't try the gray and the white. That could be interesting too. So white like this. That could be interesting as well. Ooh, I don't know. I kind of like that too. That's kind of cool too. What do you guys think? That's pretty cool. There's a lot of different options here. Yeah, I think he looks more dead with the white. It's true. You like the colored one? Yellow makes it pop. Yeah, I think so. I think so. Let's try this yellow again. Yeah, you know what? It is going to be small. So I think like the yellow, like a milky yellow would be the way to go. Like a yellowish orange. Let's try that. Yeah, I think you guys are right. You guys are definitely right. Now I do have some eye textures as well. So you can see like what I've done there. And a lot of it's like with what's going on around the eye. You can see that plays a huge role with how the eye, like especially the white part of the eye, it plays a massive role. There's a lot of eyes, like I've painted those eyes for that. I've painted a lot of eyes on things. There's some funny eyes in there. Let's see. I do have an eyeball actually as well. Oh, you know what I should do is incorporate some of this. So some of this would be like really good for like the shoulders and stuff, like all that stuff that's around. Okay, I'm gonna bring that in real quick. Let's bring that in right here. We'll get like some of that like pus on there. We could even make the pus like a related color to what's up there, you know, like on the shoulders or whatever. That would be kind of cool. Okay, good. I think we're getting somewhere. Got to add those textures. As many of those textures we can kind of incorporate, I think would be good. All right. Let's go here. I want to make sure I have the selection. Okay, I guess I don't need this selection right now. All right. Let's do this. You guys are helping a ton. I appreciate it. Like a community drawing here. But yeah, see, like this is like I feel comfortable being able to do this because I've spent time with those textures, doing them and learning, you know, controlling them and let's put a little bit around the center. And I'm gonna put a darker ring around this. Put a darker ring around this one. Let's go 100% opacity. And I need to make it bigger, I think. I don't want the eyes to get too small. Okay. I like this funk album that's playing. It's good, right? And I like the idea of it looking at the audience, like looking at the viewer. I want to get some darker red in there. And it just needs to be hinted at. It doesn't need to be rendered to death, but... Okay, let's see here. Okay, let's go here. Okay. There we go. All right, let's get some transitions going up in this this area right here. Into this part of the forehead. Let's get some warmer areas here. So I'm just adjusting the opacity here. This is going to get... I think I want the nose to be coming back in a bit more, so I think right here should be a little bit more in shadow. Not much, but just a little bit of shadow right there because it kind of dips back. I want it to like dip in underneath the forehead there. Yeah, you see that? Like a slight deviation in. So I've got to bring that. There we go. All right, let's see. I always like to look at it in the larger context and be like, does that work? And I think it does. It's definitely creepy. It's like, does it read from like this distance? You know, not so much. I think we could probably move it over and make it a little bit bigger. I always like, right when I'm done painting something like that, I always like to look at it in the larger context and make sure. Let's go like this. Let's go here. All right, let's select this. And I think it's going to need to be a little bit bigger and moved over a bit. Just a bit. I always like to get things in the right place here before I start rendering too much. That's better, I think. I still think it like might need to be bigger. Oh, that's weird. Moving it out to the side. Look at that. Oh, that's pretty cool. I like that. Moving the eye out. Oh man, that's real creepy. That's definitely creepy. So making the nose wider and moving that eye out. Yes, that's the way to do it. Again, this is why I always go back to the more expanded, like larger view. I always like this because it helps you keep things in context. If it doesn't work with the whole thing, it's not worth it, right? Okay, let's see here. And then this eye will be over further, of course. It'll just be like more foreshortened. Or not, or they'll be less visible, I mean, on that side. Yeah, this will be a little bit more like that, yeah. That's definitely creepier. You guys can tell me what you think, but I think so. Okay. All right. All right. Hey, good. I'm glad you like that retro wave album. Yeah, it's good. It's fun. It's definitely fun. Oh yeah. All right. Will I be able to sleep after this stream? Okay. Let's see. Any questions? No. Okay, that's okay. All right. When trying to get better at texturing, is it better to do these spheres and cubes, or can you? So that's a good question. The reason I like doing the spheres as opposed to just doing the actual shape of the object is because the spheres force you to wrap it around them. So they force you to kind of wrap the texture that you're working on around a surface like that. And so, that alone is very, very helpful because you have to start to think in terms of 3D. And if you can start to learn to think in terms of 3D with textures, and think around the form, that's when it's really going to be beneficial. Very, very beneficial. That's when you're going to start not really copying. Because I started off when I was first doing textures, copying a lot of the references, just because I didn't know how anything worked. And then as time went on, I started being able to spend a lot less time copying, and then I was looking at them a lot less. I was looking at them more in terms of looking for the information, and it really helped. By the end, I was able to stop. I could just look at the reference and be like, "Oh, okay, I get it. I know what this is like that other texture, and this is like this, and that sort of thing." So I think doing the shapes like that it's really important because like I said, it makes you think about the 3D nature of what you're sorry, my nose is stuff. 3D nature of what you're drawing and painting. Let's go here. All right. Let's go here and here. And guys, I want to finish this. So I'm not going to stop till I finish this. So if we need to spend a little extra time streaming today, I don't have something else until I have the drawing jam till later. It's like much later on today. So I'm finishing this bad boy. We're doing it. I ain't going to wait till... I'm not going to like get halfway there. But that's why I want to start with the face though, especially. Let's go here. Let's put a dark for the upper lid. No, I want to get that red back for the inner area. I like that. Okay. All right, so let's get a little bit of this orangish. This eye over here obviously is going to be smaller. We're seeing it from a different perspective as well, of course. Let's see. Let's kind of cut this off like that. Let's not make the highlight too bright either. And I've noticed that like when you put a highlight down, you really have an opportunity at that point to kind of point the like where the character or the person is looking. Like the highlight like conveys a lot to the viewer about where they're looking. So let's put this in here. And let's grab some of these gross purples. Go. So then I back up right away to get a good view of this because it's kind of hard to see how the whole thing is reading until you get back from it. But let me just do a couple other things. And you know what I could do? I could do this. Let's do a copy of... here we go. Let's do this. Let's zoom in like this. Let's put this out here. Let's put it over here so we can see like what it looks like from far away. How's that look? Good, right? All right. Oh, that second eye could be clogged with gunk. That's a good idea. Artsy Casey, I do use Procreate. I use Infinite Painter. And I haven't found a lot of good brushes that I really like in either of those. Maybe it's just me, but I tend to use them more for sketching than anything. But I'm still working on that, so I'll get back to you on that. But I definitely use them and want to get better with them and stuff. But Procreate especially, I don't have any brushes that I'm like in love with, but that could be because of my particular like slant, you know, and the way I paint and stuff like that. But yeah, you know, it's funny. I've been thinking about the retro stuff lately because my son's been playing my old like original NES, and he actually beat Super Mario 3 the other day. He's 12 soon, 11. He's going to be 12 soon, but he beat Super Mario 3 the other day, and so I've been thinking about that, which is funny. Okay, let's see. So I've been kind of thinking. I think that's probably why I went to reach for this. It's like in my mind, you know. I think I want this to be more sunken in. Yeah, kind of come in like that. It might. It's definitely weirder. You know, I don't know. Like I'll debate. I'll go back and forth with that to see, but I think bringing it in would be good. Let's grab this. Okay. So we've got this part of the nose. Let's make his nose wider. Let's grab some of this warm shadow in here. Yeah, this warm shadow in there. Let's get that indicated. Let's get a little bit of this reflected light. So I'm just putting in this reflected light because then I'll come over it with the shadow. Like to get an idea of like the form. Let's see. Yeah, so my son beat Super Mario with without the whistles. He beat it like just straight up, like going through all the different things, all the different levels, which is fun. Okay, this will be here. Let's go like this. Let's not make it quite so wide. There we go. The claps are awesome on this one. Let's go 100% opacity here. Okay. There we go. Yeah, I want it to be like kind of like what I was showing you with that Sergeant, where there's not going to be much difference between the nose and that side, because oftentimes, like in this kind of lighting, especially in north lighting, like you don't really get a massive difference there. Let's get it to be a little bit darker there. Yeah, see, I do want some soft edges though, because in the textures that I've done, in order to get it to look like more of like a translucent kind of a thing, you have to have a little bit of a smoother transition. It doesn't have to be. I don't want to lose the cool, like the nice brush strokes or whatever, but it does need to transition pretty smoothly in order to convey that. Let's go here. Let's go here. This would be catching a little bit more light. This top part of the lip right here be kind of like the head here. This would be catching a lot of light. This right here. This thing. Although you would have this casting a shadow on it. A little bit. probably at an angle like that, depending on how it's. Gotta get some cooler colors in there. Just faint cooler colors in there. And I think just putting a little bit of a highlight on there. Yeah, see, that's like the axolotl. That's like the axolotl over here. Like that highlight is what gives it that sort of gross, clammy, like a little bit cooler, and then the light's hitting it, but then when you get that highlight on there, it's like, oh yeah, gross. Full axolotl right there. This guy's looking legit gross. Legit. I want to get a bit more of a... So what I'm doing is just describing the form here. You know, like I'm you know, doing different things with the lighting and, you know, adjusting the values and the transitions and the edges to get the form to read the way I want it to. So I want it to look like, you know, this section is catching a little more light or a little less light or whatever, depending on the situation. And so I'm adding, you know, values here and there and changing things. And you know, there's a lot of decision making that I'm doing, so it's tough to break it all down. But that in general, I'm thinking about the form. I think I need more, because when I look at this like smaller version, I need more evidence of that color in the eye. I think you guys had a good call with the eye color and stuff. You were talking about making it crusty over here. I might come back to do that. Should I add a little bit more of this on this side? Hold on. I think it's set to clear mode. Yeah, I need normal mode. Yeah. And this comes up a little bit more. Definitely helps having the big picture like over here. I want it to be meaner, so let me point this down a bit. Yeah, I want to point that down a bit more. I mean, his eyes aren't like 100% being mean, but let's close them a bit more and see what that. It's kind of like a dead look to him, so that's working. Okay, let me see what you guys are saying. I want to make sure I'm covering your questions. Okay. How do you make a call to adjust opacity and flow? Like, what situations call for high opacity? Oh, good question. Very, very good question. So, when I'm making a transition, when I want there to be like, let's say I want this right here to be a very, very smooth transition right here. Like if I want that to be a really, really smooth transition, I've got to actually I'll use like 20% opacity. And then I'll color pick from here and I'm putting a bunch of strokes, like stroke, 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 like that over top of this. And then when I want to highlight, I'm like 100% opacity, right? I want it to be very opaque in that area if I have a highlight there. And I will use less pressure. Like I'll use less pressure on my Sense Labs tablet, but I still am going to use 100% opacity. Just going to lay down more paint like that, right? And so it really just comes down to like what I need to do with the form. So if the form needs to turn and roll and be soft, then I will use less opacity in general. And if it needs to have like a harsher edge, then I will I'll use a more opacity. So I'm gonna adjust the placement of this stuff. Like, yeah, I think I'll erase out some of that. I think I want to have some of the gums visible here. Like the gums on top of this, Those would be more red, I think. Like that kind of thing. Need this to be darker. And this will eventually get, some sort of highlight like that, like this part of the tooth. And I'll probably put like striations in the tooth or whatever. Like this kind of thing. Like that sort of thing in the tooth, This reminds me of Mario, this song. This definitely reminds me of Mario a lot. This would be darker, I'm thinking, for this. And these would probably have a cast shadow on them as well. So this would be an example of when I would go to like 10% opacity. 20%. Let's do 20%. Right? Making this bigger. Right? I'm putting like a cast shadow over top of this. And I totally messed up the shape of the form. Like that wouldn't, cast a shadow like that. It would be rounded like that. It would be more similar to that. This isn't looking quite right, but I'll get there on that one. Part of it, I think, is going to be just carving these shapes out. This would be 100% opacity. Carving these shapes out with this. And I think... And I'm gonna change like the side of this, but I like the fact that it's like not a real predictable shape for the for the mouth and for all that. Like it's unsettling to have it be a little bit more strange, like sticking out a little bit more on that side. Like I don't know if I'll have it quite as far, but I do like it kind of bulging a bit over there. Like I said, I'll erase some of that over there, but I do like the weirdness of that. It's very... Normally it wouldn't work, but I think it does work with this. I don't know. Maybe. This thing is disturbing for real. Let's go here. Okay, the tongue. I've got like a good reference for that. With my textures. There's that tongue. I like this. I like a lighter... Okay, so it's like, I like a lighter, version for that. Like a lighter, take on that. I think it would be kind of cool. And then having this, so this would be like a 20% opacity. Watch this. 20% opacity, kind of create like a shadow in the back for that tongue. And I'll hint at the fact that this is a little bit pointed. 100% opacity. And I'll kind of let it flow into here like that. Right? So it's a weird shaped tongue. Okay. Let's go like this. Oops. I like the fact that this is like stubby, actually. Like it's like more like that. This one's like more pointed. I like, I want variation in these shapes. Just having them all be the same wouldn't be anywhere near as interesting, I don't think. It'd be cool to put some slime on this. That's why I have that slime out. I want to put some slime on these, like coming off these. It'd be awesome. And the overlaps here, it's very interesting too, because like even getting overlaps like this, like and getting all these shapes to kind of sit in one another, like that's something that I've learned by doing textures as well. Let's look at those highlights again on that. Okay, so there was some red around the bottom of that tongue. Let's see here. Oops. Well, what's Photoshop doing? Weird. Why aren't you letting me move this? Hold on a second. Oh, let's let me move this one. Let me save this real quick. Yeah, what's it doing? Hold on a second. Weird. Okay. Let me close down this and see what happens. Well, let me save this and just reopen it real quick. Let's close this and reopen it. There we go. And we can get a good, you know... Okay, good. It's working now. I'm like, don't do this to me. Okay, so let's do a new window. Let's make it smaller again. Okay. Okay. Let's go here so we can see the big picture again. All right. So you can see and what's fun about this is now that I like feel a lot more comfortable with all these textures and stuff, like I can kind of riff on it, you know? That's the cool part is once like, cause it's really hard to figure out the textures at first. It's very, very difficult. But once you spend some time doing it, and obviously I've done like 500, it begins to kind of sink into your thinking, like without you even realizing it. And you can just kind of roll. You can just go, you know? And it's like, I imagine it's similar to like a musician. And when a musician, you know, spends a long time like studying one particular thing or whatever, then they can kind of freestyle and just jam, you know? And that's kind of the idea. I want to get to the point where I can just think about something and then be able to kind of capture it, hopefully. Let's go 100% opacity here. Let's go. Is this 100%? Yeah. Let's go a little brighter. Yeah. Let's get that. Gonna break up that highlight a little bit. Okay. We'll see about this too. Like this would definitely have some reflected light from these teeth and from the gums, you know. It would be like that, but then you'd have a very warm and very dark area in between. Yeah, like that. Okay. Let's go here. Be like, what would the gums be like on a tooth like this? I have no idea. That's really weird. All right. So I like to swap areas. Like I'll come back to that area. I do like to swap areas quite a bit so that I can stay like a little bit more aware. Let's do something with these. Let's do something with these bad boys. Okay, so we definitely want there to be... Let's go like 10. I'm just going to go low opacity here because I think I want there to be fairly soft edges here and kind of implying that this is transparent, translucent, I should say. Let's go a little bit towards this direction for this side, like the light's kind of coming through there. Now, one of the things I've noticed with this kind of light that's passing through, texture-wise, is that you'll get like a real saturated and bright color at the edge like that. And it might not be as pronounced as that, of course, but you'll get something that's very, very similar to that. And it's like something about when the light's passing through, and that would be something that like Sam Nielsen would be able to tell me the exact reason. You know, for me, it's all visual. So I've observed those things, and I have like more of like a guerrilla style of all that, but approach to all that stuff. But yeah, it will sort of be like that. And then we would have a dark shadow here, and we'd have a little bit of that light hitting on the horn. So we'd have this horn like this, and we'd have a little bit of that light probably hitting like right here. Yeah, like right there. So we'll make sure to include that just as a mental reminder. Put that in. Okay. So now I do want there to be sort of like that stretchiness of the. Let me look at the frigate bird. Because see, like where it stretches and the highlight is really interesting to me. So it's all like deviating from a certain point. So I think getting some stretchy stuff from here makes sense. Like it would kind of come from there, right? So like this stretchy stuff would be flowing from where the head is. So we'd get like a little bit of a lightening that would happen there, and these would sort of fade out a little bit. We'd still want that liquid area to look like it's liquid, but I think the way we can get around that is by adding some highlights to that. Now, do we want this to be? I think we want it to be blocked in the center. So there'd be like a wall in the center that blocks it from both sides, right? So it's like that kind of a thing. That's really weird. Let's select this silhouette again. Just make sure we're... Yeah, let's... Okay. I'm going to use low opacity here. And, you know, all of this will make... It makes much more sense when you start putting the highlights in. Does flow have anything to do with your settings? Do you switch that often or leave it? I do switch flow on a lot of brushes, not on these that I'm using, but it does come into play with my brushes. I tend to like to have the flow a little bit higher. When I have the flow a little bit higher, like 40 I guess isn't that high. I guess I was thinking it was higher, but like I just wanted to. I guess what I want is it to have some, like 100 seems like. That's too much, I feel like. It does come into play, but I also like a lot of texture. I guess when I have the flow, I thought I was getting used to having it pretty high, but I guess 40 isn't that high. But I tend to like the texture to come through. If I want it to be a textural stroke like this, I'll keep the flow lower, and I'll be much more aware if I need it to be more of like a flat stroke like that, you know. So flow does come into play. You know, but in general, I keep it from like 40 to 70. I usually don't want it one way or the other, like totally one way or the other. In general, like my stroke, I like to have my strokes be a little bit more rough in nature, textural in nature, that sort of thing. Here you go, guys. Like, look at this. Like, get some like stretchy stuff kind of coming through like this, right? Yeah. So it's like ballooned out, but let's see, like that kind of thing. And this would spread out. A lot of textures I've done, like it spreads out as it gets closer up here. Like spreads out, but I don't want to lose that value, and I also don't want to lose this liquid there, you know, that value there for that. Oh, that's gross, isn't it? This guy's cool. There was a little bit of a rougher highlight on that frigate bird one. So I'm going to come over top of this, but I still want to convey that there's liquid in there. These would get darker as they went down here, these little highlighted areas. And they'd probably have a point where they were catching a little bit more light, and it would fade off. You know, a lot of times, like, I'll notice people will make highlights on stuff like this. They'll just make the highlight all the way across it. But there's nothing really like that in reality, basically. Like, it kind of, it spreads out quite a bit. So you'd probably see it like concentrated in one area, but then it would sort of spread out as it went down and get a little bit darker. Need a darker value for these areas. Let's grab this. And as it got closer, these would bunch up together, and you get a lot more shadow in there. Let's make it a lot more gradual. And I think I just need to simplify it a bit more, and it'll be better. This one might catch a little more light. It might be brighter this way. This whole side would probably be darker. This would be darker in here then. And I wonder if introducing a little bit of this green onto this would help it like sort of look like it's fading into there. I almost want it to be like this just turns into that, you know, like it's not a there we go. Yeah, there we go. This would probably get darker in between here too. Might be able to let this area be a little bit darker. And then this upper area and that area would probably be the... That's disturbing, right? If we're heading towards disturbing and monstrous, then we're heading in the right direction. Okay. It's weird. So what we could do is actually use... we could actually use this lighter area down in the bottom to show that there's objects in there, right? So this is where we could have like objects, you know, in the water, like that. Hey, Claude Z, thank you. You're the best. You're the absolute best. Good to see you on here again, Claude Z. Good to see you. You got the special music. Good to see you, girl. Yeah, it's like a clear wrap kind of a thing. Yeah, exactly. Now I do need to adjust this silhouette. So I need to adjust this silhouette. Like the silhouette is definitely weird. Like I think I'm gonna go back to this layer. And actually, let me do, let me get rid of these layers. Hold on. I'm going to group all these. I'm going to group all these layers, because that's the ones I'm working on. And then I want to go back to the silhouette and adjust that. So this silhouette needs to be adjusted. Let's go here. So, yeah, let's clear this. Let's go 100%. I'm gonna actually just clear it out, and then I'm gonna paint that. Okay. I want to make sure that this didn't. Oh yeah, see, this is getting into a probably a copyright protected thing. Hold on. It's going to flag me. Don't flag me. There we go. All right. If I hear lyrics, I know I've hit the other. So this is definitely going to be smoother. So what I can do is I'll just take this and you know, delete this on the outside of this. Let's get this to be, you know, deleted out there. And then I'll do the same thing up here. And then I'll build it up on my own. I'm just going through this trouble to protect it from so that I can like have the drawing like not like so I can adjust the background. Let's go here. Let's erase this out. And then where do I have probably here too. Oh, I got multiple layers with that. That's good. Let's go here. And I'll erase this out. Yeah, there we go. Because that silhouette, this is what I was talking about conveying that texture. Like if I've got a chunky silhouette like that, it's not actually going to convey that texture properly. I've got to build up that silhouette on my own. Where does this go? Right there. There we go. Baboosh. Okay. Now we've got it like looking a lot more like a tense kind of weird, stretchy thing, you know? Let's grab... actually, I'm not going to use a silhouette for this. All right, let's put this in our own way. Okay, here. Okay. Here. Again, I'm switching between that clear mode and normal mode. And this would be like on this side, you would get some wrinkles. So even if you didn't, show wrinkles on this side, like you would get some wrinkles on this side. It would duplicate, it would duplicate the texture over there. Like what we've got, it would be, going into the distance, but you definitely see some sort of like that, and you'd see it over here too. And you can see how it helps. It helps. It definitely helps, like just getting a hint of the silhouette. I think I need to erase this. Yep, that's better. And I think I'm going to clear this one out, and let's clear it out from here too. Let's go here. This is the only annoying thing when you have to go through and like layer by layer get rid of this stuff. But it does help if you can do it and get control of things. There you go. Okay. And I'll adjust it. I'll put like final touches on it, but like the shape, but okay. Okay, let's see here. Let me check back in with you guys too if anybody had any questions. This is very weird. This is really weird, Definitely like kind of showcasing that there's some liquid in there, and yeah, you get like a lighter area for like the surface. So a little bit of that would show through. There we go. That's a little better. See what you guys are saying. Yes, it's been a while. It's been a while, Artsy. It's definitely been a while. Yeah. But I'm back. I'm back. Yes, it's a new fancy subscriber thing, and you get music and everything too, Claude Z. I'm back. I'm like, so I really did have to kind of settle into Texas. I just moved to Texas for everybody that didn't know. I moved to Texas from Pennsylvania, and so it just took a while. Like working out stuff for the kids' school, working out stuff for where we're living, like the house. Like it just like it kind of took it out of us. And it was a kind of a crazy process. But we're doing good now. We're settling in. Like the kids have, their kind of like peer group, like their friends and their, all that. Everything's working out good. It's been fun. So we're settling in. Just in time for Lightbox. All right, so this is going to be a lighter background, so I'm going to put a little bit of transparency in there. So I want to kind of convey that he's got like a divider in his head, for this particular thing, but let's make this darker. All right, so let's see where we are at. Let's look at the big picture here. Let's zoom out. We'll look at the big picture a little bit. Let's go a little bit lighter here. Okay. Let's back up. Definitely a weird... I need these to transition a little bit more smoothly, I think. Like they should sort of disappear as they come up there and they're sticking out a little bit too much. This is where backing up helps a ton again. Like backing up just helps a ton. This needs to be darker overall in here too. So weird. That's really weird. Okay. 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 Let's see here. And we'll worry about this one. I'll do this one. I'm going to move on to a different area. We'll worry about this one in a sec. Because we've got it kind of figured out, like in terms of value and edge-wise, what we're going to be doing there. I want to come back here. Let's move to a different area. Let's move to the horns. Let's get some of the horns working. These are going to be fun. Okay. Let's do another layer. And this I will use the silhouette, although I will change it, but I will use the silhouette. Let's paint these bad boys. Let's look again at the there we go. Okay, let's see. I like that there's a little bit of green in there, like it's almost like moss. This I want to get it very, very rough. I think this is a, yeah, this is a rougher version of that brush. It's got a little bit more texture. I think it'd be cool to have this turn black at the edge as well. What do you guys think? Black on the edges of that? Hey, Eddie, thank you. Hey, Artist Moolah. What's up? Hey, you guys, I just want you guys to know. When I moved, I had to go through everything that I had, right? So I had to go through everything that I had. And I had to figure out like what I was going to do with certain pieces of art. And I found some art that I hadn't looked at for like a long time and things like that. So I want to, everybody that is subscribed to me here on Twitch, at the my last session, which is going to be on Sunday. My last session is on Sunday. Let me look at my schedule again. Hold on a sec. I can tell you my schedule. I'm going to, actually, it might be fun to do one here and then do, actually, I'll do it next session, but let's go here. Let me see my schedule. What is it? Oh, yes. So Saturday, I have the Cap'n Crunch portrait. That's going to be fun. Sunday, I'm doing a portrait of Sam. So, you know what? On Sunday, I'm going to pick 3 people and from my subscriber list, and you don't even necessarily have to be there. You know, if you're on the subscriber list, yeah, that's what I'll say. Like if you're on the subscriber list, you're good. But I'm going to pick 3 people from that are subscribed on Twitch, here on Twitch, and I'm going to spin a wheel, right? And I've got some art that I, you know, because I was like, what am I going to do? I'm not going to send this to the gallery and sell it. I'm not going to do things like that. I'm going to send it to you guys. If you guys want a chance at winning that, subscribe to me here. You don't have to be subscribed to anything more than a month or whatever, but give it a shot. And I want to give you a painting. I'll have 3 different paintings. I'll talk about it on that day and do it. And I'd rather you guys have the art. Like it's, you know, because my family, a lot of my family has a lot of pieces of art from me. They do, you know, and they might want more, but you know, it depends whether it, you know, fits in their house or does something like that. But I'm definitely going to do that. Definitely going to do that. I mean, you guys are showing me some love. You're doing that. I want to show some love back. So I found them all in the move, all this stuff in the move, and I was like, what am I gonna do with this? I was like, I'm gonna give this away. I'm gonna give it away. You know, because I want, like, my favorite thing is, like, you know, because there's so many times, like, when you're selling paintings too, that like, I can't tell you how many times somebody's talked about a painting with me and they've been like, oh, this is gonna go great in my room with my drapes or whatever, and you're like, it's not that that's bad, it's fine, I get it, but to a certain degree, I'm like, I worked my butt off on this, and you're telling me it matches with your drapes. Like, I don't. It's just rough to hear, you know, as an artist. Like, you pour your heart and soul out. Somebody's like, it's gonna fit great with my drapes. So, anyways, I want to, I want to give it to people that appreciate it and that would like it, and so I'll send it out to you guys. It'd be really fun. I did that with the last portrait workshop I did at you know, at Schoolism. I did that, and that was really fun to send that out. I did like a portrait of someone's mom, or was it their grandma? I think it was their grandma. Yeah, I did a portrait of them and sent it out to them, and that was fun, and so it was good. I'm liking the giveaway thing. It's fun. People are generally really appreciative. Yeah, so like the last, and don't worry, if you're subscribed, you don't have to be there on that day. Like I said, that's not fair to make it so like you have to be there on that day. So if you're subscribed that day, I'm just gonna grab all the names of my subscribers. I'm gonna get it a random name, you know, and I'll find that, I'll show you, I'll pick that randomly, and then I will spin a wheel. There's like a wheel thing you can get on Twitch. It's pretty cool. And I'll spin a wheel, and I'll have like the different prizes there. One of the prizes will, I'll get a lot. You know what? I'll do a lot of people that are subscribed. I'll do more than that, but there's only gonna be 3 people that'll get the artwork. And some of them are very little. You know, they're not very big, but some of them are very little. But 3 people will get the artwork, and then other people, I can give them like a critique or something like that. Like I could do that, like a critique. Like you can send me stuff, or yeah, I'll think of some good ideas for that. I think that'd be really fun to do. I'll try to think of some good stuff. You guys can give me some ideas too, and I'll put that on the wheel, and we can spin for it. Oh, this has been fun making this monster. Look at this weird monster. What a creep. What a total creep. I mean, what a freak, right? A textural freak. Okay, hold on. I'm gonna adjust this silhouette. Let's adjust the silhouette. I'm gonna take this and get rid of that, and then we're gonna, I don't think we need to, we can adjust both at the same time actually. All right, let's do clear mode with this brush. I'm gonna bring these to a point. Oops, let's get rid of that. Let's get these to a wicked point. Makes them look much more dangerous, right? Let's fill this. Oops, I gotta go to normal mode here. Fill this in. I like the idea of it not being totally symmetrical, though. You know, possibly just like having a little bit of a weird shape to it. Like that kind of thing. Or be a little bit broken up in some spots, you know, like that kind of thing. I like that. So let's try that. See where we get to with that. Let's go here. Okay. I'm going to invert that selection. It's Control-Shift-I, if anybody's wondering. I'm going to switch to clear mode on here with my brush. And I'm going to clear this. But I think it's on a separate layer. Oh, that was freaky. Look at that. Oh! You guys ever watch like Ren and Stimpy or like SpongeBob? And it's like, oh! Like when they, you know, they show like a close-up of the character and they're looking all messed up and it's like, oh! That's what I feel like when I... Like, it's like, oh. Get rid of this. Here and here. Like that. That's better. Yeah. There we go. Okay. Let's see where we're at. Yeah, much better. I like that. Okay. And then we will get a little bit of shine on these bad boys. Okay. Let's go. Let's get like see if it, let's go like 100%. Oh, I gotta invert it. That's right. There we go. I still had my selection the way it was before. I think it would catch some of the light. Let's see. So if the light's coming down like that, yeah, it would catch the light. A little bit of that light would catch like right here, I think. I think that's definitely conceivable. But with the texture, it would be cut into that. Like, you'd get a little bit cut into that sometimes, like that'll happen. And you might get a little bit of reflecting back up into here. So I'm going to kind of convey that too. That's a little better. Let's see. But again, highlights rarely ever just like stay the same value all the way across a highlight. Like, it usually is getting darker as it transitions. So this might have a highlight on this side. Yeah, I think it would. Because the light's kind of facing that direction, and there we go. That's probably a little bit better. Maybe a little bit more on this side. And then you might get a little bit of reflected light bouncing into this. Let's zoom in a bit. Okay. Oops. You know what? Let me switch the music. We got a little bit of time left. I wanna get like a little bit more intense. We gotta pump it up to finish this thing. Let's do. What do you got for us, Harris Heller? Let's do Cracked. What's Cracked? Yeah. Let's do it. Let's get this rocking. What's up, Gilos? Yeah, Ren and Stimpy were good. I know. Yeah, they were like, oh, the whole. Okay. Okay, let's get some. This darker color and value needs to persist a little bit longer. Okay, let's make this a little bit. Now the edges of these teeth would be catching light. Like this part of them would be catching light from this direction. But this other, the back part would be a little bit darker, I think. Maybe not quite that dark. You'd be catching a little reflected light, but there we go. And they wouldn't have that dark line around them, that's for sure. Maybe there'd be enough reflected light, I guess, to make them a little bit more like that. Let's make this a little lighter, this lip. There'd definitely be a shadow across this, though, from the teeth. Let's paint that shadow. Coming across like that. But you'd have other areas where the light would be hitting this lip. That's a little darker, I think. Okay. That's a little better. Let's get this lip coming down a bit lower. I kind of like it coming in like a weird, like it's a weird shape, but I like it. Maybe it would be a highlight on the other side, like right where the light would come through, like right there, and then maybe a little bit here. Yeah, that's a little better. But this side would definitely be in shadow. Over here. I'm kind of going across the whole thing now just to kind of see where we're at. I really need this to look like it's tensed, you know, like it's pulled up. I guess that this would actually probably be forward a bit more. Like if it was tensed, it would kind of do that. It'd be a little bit more straight, you know, like as if it's taut. It's going to look a lot more straight like that. And then this side would, most of this would be in shadow, I guess. Yeah. And let's make this side blue. Yeah, here we go. This guy's looking hideous. That's what we like. Right? What's up, Rika? The painting really brings the room together. Yeah. That's it. That's what they said to me. They didn't realize they were like destroying my soul when they said that. Okay. I'm just going to jump around now. Because now it's about like, you know, bringing this somewhat to a finish. Let's give him like... There we go. So they'd be catching a little bit more light, like right here. And right here. Then I'll tame it down a bit. There we go. This arm would be catching a little bit of light as well. This neck would be casting a shadow. Let's go like 20% opacity. This is another example of like using the lower opacity to get... Oops. Painting on the wrong... I don't understand why. Sometimes it jumps layers like that. I don't understand why, but... I end up hitting something to jump a layer, I think. This would have reflected light in it. This neck, it wouldn't just be 100% dark like that. You would definitely have a core shadow there. You definitely have this transition value, but you would not have just... Oops. Let's do this. Normal mode. Let's go 100%. What I think would be cool is if I could get a little bit of subsurface scattering over here. You know? Like, that'll work. Now this had, I remember I was looking at this texture. Remember we were looking at this texture over here? And it had the pink around the edge of that, tongue. We're gonna get that. We're gonna get that pink around the edge of that tongue. And then let's get the... Here we go. And tongues, I've done a few. You know, you can see from that progress. If you guys hadn't seen that, you're just joining us. I'm gonna hide this too, by the way. This progress that I had open earlier, you can see all the different textures. Let me show you kind of what I'm referencing here. Ooh, would you kiss this creature for $1 million? That's a very interesting question. I like that question. Okay, I'm gonna take this and move this. Here we go. Oh my gosh, I don't know if I would kiss this guy for... But here, I'll show you, like, so we had some tongues. Oops, that's not what I want to do. There's a bunch of tongues up here. There's a cow tongue, a couple cow tongues, I think. And then the middle one is a human tongue. But you see how it's a broken up highlight? Like the human tongue is like just a broken up highlight. I love it, Ginger Fuzz. It's like, no shame. I love it. I'm the same. Yes. I mean, yes. I would definitely kiss this guy for... You know. Let's do it. If my wife kisses me, then I can kiss this thing. She'd be like, if she was here, she'd be like, don't say that. Okay, let's get some of this rendered. So I'm jumping around a lot. I know I'm jumping so that I can so I can get these like kind of get everything sort of up to speed to get a better idea of where I'm at. But you can see how just implying some of these textures, like it gives it, like, it takes it from being like, oh, that's cool, you know, like where you have the sketch and you know, implying the textures now. It's like, oh, now it's gross, right? Now it's gross, or now it's disturbing, or now it, you know what I mean? Like that's the point that you want to get to with these textures. That's the way you want to utilize them, is so that you can get that across, you know, and not so that you can just disturb everyone. But if that's your goal, then you can. But it just, it gives you the power to be able to elicit whatever you want. And that could be something that's very, very fuzzy, very likable, like a, you know, a fluffy little kitten kind of a thing, or it could be something that you would never touch in your life, or you know what I mean? So it really just depends on what you want to convey. And so, you know, when you can understand textures, like it just gives you that ability. Let's give this one some dark stuff in there too. Let's give it a proper silhouette too. Okay. Need this end to be... Yeah, this is a good album to end on. This is a lot more like triumphant. And when I'm doing like the see-through areas, like the transparent areas, that's when often I will go to a lower opacity. You guys were asking me about opacities and stuff. That's when a lot of times I will reach for that lower opacity, because now I'm at a full, but a lot of times I will reach for that lower opacity then because I want it to be more see-through. Like it kind of, you know, if I'm a lot of times it depends on the surface that I'm painting. So if I'm painting like a rocky surface, I'll use full opacity. I'll use a rough brush. I kind of like apply it the same way that I feel like it is in nature. You know what I mean? Like if something is feathered and very soft and very, you know, then I will sort of keep that in mind and use a brush that simulates that. Let's put some dark stuff in there. Dark stuff floating around in there. What's in there? Nobody knows. Weird brain, like this is like he steals children's like dreams and puts them in his mouth, and when he eats them they're like stored up there. It's like their hopes and dreams floating in this weird frigate bird looking thing. Right? Makes sense. Okay. Let's get this coming out over here. Okay, let's start moving downwards on this. So I think we're gonna do like some pustules like this on him as well. I think orange would help it stand out a little bit. I'm gonna use the pattern that I've got there. Put some on this side too. And I like to jump around, so you'll see me like, especially towards the end of the finishing stage, I like to jump around so that it, you know, I can stay fresh in an area. But let's go here. Okay, so it looks like the lighter part is on this side of all these. Like that. And then the darker part is on this side. Yeah, that's typical for this kind of a thing. And then the highlight is on there too, on that side. Let's add those things. Now they do cast a shadow. That's the thing. And I think this side, I think these would be darker based on what's behind them. I think it would be darker. So this side would actually be quite a bit darker. So let's make this side darker. There we go. Yeah, because it needs to match a little bit more of the values that are around it. I think this would be... That's gross, right? And if the surface of them is kind of stretchy a little bit, they will like the highlight will be broken up a bit more. Gotta keep it darker. Like it's always a struggle that you always have to keep the value relationships in mind when you're doing something like this. So you don't want to start. I don't want to start going too bright here with the shadows or too dark with the shadow. Like it has to all fit. But these would cast their own shadows. These for sure would, even though they're very light like that. They would cast their own shadows. It's really weird. Let's have them going up here a little bit more too. And this works the same. These work the same as dewdrops. I talk about this in my class. Like, by the way, yeah, if anybody's interested in learning textures, I have my class, Understanding Textures on Schoolism. So you can check that out there if you're wanting to apply it to your own monsters or do things like that. It's a good way to learn that. But I do talk about like dew and this kind of a thing on there. And you know, it works the same sort of way. Little shameless plug there for you for a second. That's all right. And it would definitely taper off. Like you'd get some. We're kind of doing that. Let's put a little bit of a broken up. Would be darker. Now, what I'm going to do is actually go over these ones down here and make these ones darker. Yeah, because like the light was a little bit too bright on there, on the top one, so that's a little better. There's a weird collarbone. Of course, he's got a weird collarbone, right? Let's make these folds a little bit more noticeable. Like a weird foldy neck. And I want to make the put the reflected light for that in. Let's give him some pustules on his back, too. Got some back there that are showing up. Okay. Creepy, right? Weird. Let's go here. We wouldn't see too many of these on this side. Like, it's just like perspective wise, we wouldn't see them. So it gives us a good opportunity here to like highlight that lip and make a silhouette there for it so it stands out, so people understand the form, what's going on there for the form. That gives us a good opportunity to do that. And we could like this. Let's put the chin out a bit more. Let's grab this value here. There would definitely be a shadow under the lip. So what I'm trying to do is just convey this chin with enough info, but not too much. And I think it would end up being a pretty similar value to what's around it. To the body down there. I think that works. That's a little better. Okay. A little bit lighter area here. Keep this far arm fairly dark. I want to kind of pretend like it's tucked behind the body, although we would have this sticking out a bit more. The silhouette would be sticking out a bit more. This would be kind of flowing up into here. Give them some lighter values up here. Just kind of giving a little bit of treatment to the rest of the body so that it can look somewhat finished in that area. Okay. Let's put one of these here. Okay, let's get some darker spots for these and some highlights. Want some of these to have some. So I'm going to be doing a lot more monsters. Like it'd be really fun on the Twitch stream to have that be sort of a theme, like me to take, you know, monster designs and like I can sketch one during the week and then come on each week and do that. There's a couple different things that I want to do, but I want to sort of have like a thematic approach to what I'm doing on Twitch after Lightbox. You know, and have you guys have like some programming, you know, so you know what to expect and things like that. Okay, let's go up here. But I'm having a blast doing this, so I'm gonna keep it up. Like this confirms it today too. Like this was so fun. So lower opacity now. I'm using lower opacity to kind of come in here and you know, like adjust some of the transitions so that this reads better. Now, a lot of this comes from like figure drawing, like what I'm doing here. Like understanding how to describe the form, you know, like that comes from figure drawing and just knowing and like rendering, like in Paint, I've had to render in Paint like the flow of like a breast or like the flow of a pec or like the, you know, different things like that. So that's what allows me to kind of be able to make slight adjustments here in the form. And actually a lot of the texture spheres and stuff taught me a lot about how to get round forms. Like round forms became much easier when I after I had done a bunch of those spheres. So, and this gets darker as it goes down here. I'm gonna have this get darker. Let's go. The cooler colors. Yeah. Put some reflected light on this. Let's go darker on this one. And put some reflected light in that too. This would get darker quicker, I think, too. I'm just kind of taking a look back over the whole thing and trying to... Let's go a little brighter up here. Just putting little touches here and there. Very, very light touch to get some of these. This guy is super weird. Let's give him some broken teeth. Okay, now let me zoom in a bit, and I'm gonna clean up these teeth a little bit. I'm just gonna use the background color to clean up these teeth a bit. Let's go like this and make it a little rougher. Because I think like an uneven shape would be even better. Get some purple in here. I keep seeing things that I want to adjust, but I think I'm going to tame this side down a little bit too. Yeah, I think that's better. This side would be more in shadow. I'd probably not see as much of this shadow from this horn as well. Yeah, they'd probably be closer like that. Okay. Let's clean up those other teeth too. I also want to I want this to look like a soft shadow kind of coming out of here, but the underside of that neck is meh, but it's fine for now. I mean, it's fine. But this would definitely be able to convey the idea. Like if this was a concept, like you'd definitely be able to convey the idea, which would be good. But hold on, let me erase that. But I think I'd want to push certain things a bit more, actually. But it's awesome, isn't it? How these textures, like, even just looking at the textures, like, it just gives me options when like, if I'm drawing something, I can just look through the textures, because I've done so many, I can look through the textures and be like, oh, okay, I could do something like this. I could do something like that. It gives me a ton of options to work with. And, you know, it's kind of like it gives me more variables. And when I have more variables, I can make more interesting stuff theoretically. So, and it does work that way, I think. So imagine you're a musician, right? And you learn to play in a certain key, right? You learn to play in a certain key or like a certain style, like jazz, right? And then you do something, then you do some classical, right? Then you do this. No matter who you're with, if you learn different styles and do those kinds of things and practice playing those kinds of things, you'll find that in any situation you can sort of get by and do something interesting. And it's the same with textures and different things like that. It as you start to learn and you start to see what makes each texture the way it is, it gives you like a vocabulary or like a repertoire that you can pull from later. So it's like, oh yeah, I know how that works. That works like this, and I'm going to do that right now, you know? So it's nice. there's a lot more that we could do on this, that is for sure. But I do think we have effectively... yeah, there's a lot more I could do to this, but I do think that we have effectively created a textural monster. I do think we have. We succeeded in that regard. Yeah. There he is. In all his glory. Oh, man. Okay. Most important part, you guys. What's his name? What's the name of this character? What's the name of this creature? If, like, this was in Pan's Labyrinth or this was something like, what would be the name of this creature? Tell me what you think. What do you think? Marge. He's disgusting. Excellent work, right? Thank you. Oh, you know what I do need to fix, though? I don't really want to leave this. Is this top, like, this middle section on this. Like, that's a real eyesore. And I just want to fix that. Marge, that's awesome. I just want to fix this because this doesn't make much sense right now. And I just want to fix it so that it at least like that kind of wraps around it. And I want to kind of, you know, take that down. Yeah, that I definitely want to adjust. I think it should probably get skinnier maybe as it comes up here. Maybe this part is thicker and kind of spreads out. Yeah, I think that could help too. Because it just ends up looking a little bit, it's a little bit too thin. It's a little bit weird. So I think, like, let's do this. Like that. And then this will come up and do that sort of thing. Go darker here. I'm gonna drop a shadow. Yeah, I just need to fix that because that looks pretty strange. So let's go. You guys helped me with some, like, good decisions on this too. You were a big part of the decision-making process, like with different colors and like the eyes and stuff. You guys nailed it. See, like, what if this, like, yeah, if this had like striations, like it kind of, yeah, there we go. Like if it kind of like fed into there, like that sort of thing. Yeah, I just needed to do something with that because it just didn't make sense before. And it's almost, I almost like, I'm thinking now it's like almost like a brain type of structure, like that sort of thing happening. I'll zoom in so you guys can see a little bit more clear what I'm doing here. Yeah, something more like that. Just something a little bit more organic that looks like it could actually be part of a creature or a being or something. Let's get a little bit of this in here too. There we go. All right. Total freak. Yes. That's really weird. I'm just going to darken this. I'm just going to have this go from light to dark a little bit more clearly. Like that, yeah. That's better. Yeah, and there's a really dark in there. Okay. Dr. Pimple Popper. That's pretty good. Dr. Pimple Popper. I know. Oh man, that's hilarious. That's really funny. I can totally see that. Dr. Oh man, that's funny. Can you imagine if this guy came up and was like, hey, I want to pop a pimple in here? Now, I said I would kiss this guy for $1 million. You know, I probably would, but I don't know if I'd pop a pimple, let him pop a pimple for, I feel like something's going to happen. I don't know. Oh, man. But look at the difference. So I want to show you guys this, right? So let's look at the initial sketch. Let's look at the initial sketch and here, and let me show you where we've come just based on textures. So look, let's go here. Where's the initial sketch? There it is. So here, let's save this. I haven't saved it for a while actually, so it's gonna be funny as we remove layers. Right? So look at that. Right, so there's that. What's this? Where's this other layer? Is it up here? Did I put that on this layer? Oh, I did. Whoops. So anyways, there's the sketch. You can kind of see, and there's other layers too. Like, let me... Oh, okay, here, I'll do this. Huh, I got something. Yeah, either way. There we go. There we go. There's the initial sketch. So the initial sketch is here. And you can see like yeah, it's got information on there. It's conveying some things, you know. But when you start adding all the textural information, all of a sudden like you get a better feeling of where this thing exists, what its body's like, what its biology is like, what it, you know, like, you know, what it eats, like, sort of, and how it eats, and what it, you know what I mean? Like, that kind of a thing. It starts to make a lot more sense that way. And you just get a lot more information. It just, you know, like, literally fleshes things out more. And, you know, and whereas the sketch is like, okay, yeah, it's gross, but it's not gross like this, right? This makes you feel like this is sick, right? You know? Yeah, so... utilizing textures in this way and learning them this way, it's hugely important, and it's been really beneficial for me. So I wanted to convey that. Now let me throw this out there. If anybody has any other questions, pop them in now. And but I think it was successful. Look at this bad boy. Craziness. Oh my gosh, I can smell this creature. Some nice texture ass monsters there. That's right. Thank you for all the follows. I would encourage everybody, if you haven't followed me on here, you know, definitely do that. Artist Moolah, thank you for the subscription. I see that. I'm going back through. There's probably some other ones that I've missed. I really appreciate you guys, you know, being interested in this and you know, and logging on. And you know, I'm gonna have another. So my schedule. Let me read you my schedule again. You guys will see it here when I'm ending this. But I've got Discord drawing. It's in. Let's see. So that would be 4:30 PST, which is 6:30. So 3.5 hours from now, I'm gonna be drawing with Bobby on Discord, the Discord Drawing Jam. I'm gonna be doing that. On Saturday from 1 to 2, I'm going to be doing the Sense Lab sponsored Captain Crunch portrait, which is going to be really fun. I'll show you guys the sketch real quick. Hold on. You guys will get a little preview of the sketch. And I wanted it to be like halfway between like real and halfway like cartoon, halfway real. I'll show you this. I'm just going to show you up on the camera because I don't have it outside of there yet. I gotta export it, but check this out. I'll let you guys see it. Look at that. There he is. So it's a loose sketch because I'm gonna be painting it sort of like a classical style. And so there's like, this is Captain Crunch up there, and so oops, sorry, like that, so you guys can can see that. It's gonna be fun. So we're gonna disturb people in a different way. You know, this monster is disturbing for a little bit of a different reason, you know. So we'll be doing that, and then on Sunday I'll be doing a portrait of my son Sam. And on Sunday is when I'm going to do the giveaway for everybody that's subscribed. I'm just going to pick some people that are subscribed and give away some of my artwork and some other things. And maybe if I'm able to, maybe I'll grab just a random follower too. I have a lot of followers, so I have to figure out how to get that list. But yeah, I appreciate you guys so much for logging on. And let me just see if you have any questions. Oh, we're in Texas now. We're in like North Dallas. We're like 35-40 minutes north of Dallas right now. So I do want to fix this though. I want to fix this real quick, because this is not good. I want to just, this is what's going to happen. See, I'm going to see all this stuff, and I'm going to be like, I need to put that in. Okay, hold on. I don't want it to be too, I may have to just adjust that. I'll adjust that later. No, I think I just need to tame that one down. I wanted to give again a shout out to Sense Labs. They sent me a bunch of stuff. Like, I'm telling you, it's changed like my working method. Here's my tablet. Sense Labs, like they told me when this is the kind of people they are. So they told me when they sent it, they were like, listen, we're not going to tell you what to say. We're not going to tell you what to do. We're not going to tell you to, you know, say you like it or whatever. They're like, we're just sending you the stuff. If you like it, talk about it. If you don't. And even on their demo that I'm doing tomorrow, you know, the demo I'm doing with them, they're like, you know, don't. I asked them, you know, I said, hey, you know, we were talking about how things are going to go, and they basically said, oh, don't feel like you have to even talk about the tablet. They're like, don't even worry about it. We're just having fun on there. If it's natural, it comes up, whatever. But I just wanted to give them a shout out because I had so many tablet woes, and this stuff has been awesome. This thing is glorious too. Really, really good. If anybody's out there, if you're looking for one, I went through 3 Intuos Pros, and I was just getting so mad. So anyways, that's neither here nor there. I'll talk about that more tomorrow, I think. But I just I was like done with Wacom, so I just wanted to give them a shout out because it's been great. Like, they sent it to me, and it's, you can see it's working perfect. No flubs, no. That's exactly how it's been. So it's been great. So and they believe in my work, and they've been real champions of what I do. So I want to get behind them. But he's a fraud. You know, he's not a real captain, right? Yeah. Oh, but he is. He's my captain. Captain, oh, captain. You know. Just wondering, where do you go for reference for textures or effects like you have on the side of your main painting? So each of those have, like, what I look for, that's a great question. What I look for when I'm looking for texture reference is I want to see texture references that show what the light is doing on it. So let me give you an example. Let's say we have a texture where, like, let's do graham crackers, right? I haven't done graham crackers, actually. Now I'm feeling like I want to, you know, do some graham cracker textures. So look, so is this one good? Yes, slightly. Because it's got like the holes in there and it's got like the shadow on the side and stuff. It's good. It shows you a little bit. It shows you like the edge. See how the edge is jagged and the colors are there. You know, that's not good, right? So you do see a little bit of the surface, but not a ton, right? You know, you don't get a ton of info. Those aren't good either. Like, you want something that is more like that, where you're seeing the lighting. You're seeing like lights and clear lights and darks. So let's see. Maybe graham crackers is like, it's fine. These are all fine, but let's do something else, like a porcupine. Let's do that, right? Let's say you're doing a porcupine, right? So if I look at this and I'm like, okay, that's not a very good reference, right? So it works, but there's not a lot of light information. Like, it shows you the direction of the quills and it shows you different things like that, but it's not lights and darks. This begins to show you that, right? Why? Because there's a shadow side. You've got the underneath by the belly. You can see like the silhouette. You can get a very clear idea of the silhouette. There's also a really, you know, it shows you how the dark part of the body underneath. Now, obviously, it's got mud on it and stuff like that, but it also shows you the local value, the local color. That's very helpful. This one's not as helpful either. You do see the silhouette and things like that, but again, you want something that this one's not bad, but you want something that shows more light and dark. Like, this one's much better, right? This almost looks like a sphere that you've lit, right? Like, it's coming from the upper left, coming down, like that. Let's look at another one. Let's look at like peanut butter. So peanut butter and porcupines. I guess I got that on my mind, right? So is this good? Yes, partially. Because you can see like these things, but see, there's so much reflected light and so much like bounce light because it's a for a good photo. That's why. A lot of times, like, people's photos are better than like professional photos for reference for me, I think. Like, this is better because you get to see, like, look, what color is it? What value is it in the shadows? You know, and Skippy is more like wax, but still, it's like, this is good too. Look at that right side. You can see the shadow side. You can see like what the light, what it looks like in all the areas. This is bad, right? It's got bounce, so much bounce light. It's not helpful. That one's good for the shadow patterns and stuff. That one's not bad, actually, because you can like isolate the highlights, see what the highlights look like, see what the shadows look like. That's not bad. This one's not great. It's okay, but you see what I'm getting at. That's sort of the idea. Like if I'm doing a macaron, like a French macaron, right? Let's look at this. This is great, right? Why? Look at the shadows on the side. You can see like the shadows. You can see like, look at the highlights that just show up on the edge of those. That's going to be much better. This one is also going to be very, very good as well. Really good to see lights and darks, although there is bounce light in this, but this one's bad, real bad, right? Because you don't really get a sense of what the light's doing. So that's a great question though, because it's something that I've kind of experimented with, and you see a lot of the professional photography, like, that's not great as a reference. It shows you what the elements are, so that part's good, but it doesn't show you what the light's doing. Like, you really want, like, that's not great. So, and it's a great photo, but it's not great for artists. Like, we need light. So, like, if you look at a person's, like, portrait photo, and you look at, like, reflect light, and you see, like, something like this, right? You see that, like that. Hold on. Let's go. Let me just go here. Right? If you look at this, like that, and that looks nice for the photo, but you only really have the shadows on the other side of the face. You don't really get to see, like, if you really look at the nose and the eyes, like, you don't really get a good idea of, like, the structure. It doesn't really help you. You really only have dark in the lips at the corners and stuff. That's not going to be as helpful to understand what the structure is, to understand what it is. But if you do Rembrandt lighting for a portrait and you want to see what a person's facial structure looks like, that is ideal. I mean, look at that. Like, you can see exactly what the facial structure is because of the lighting. Is that Billy Corgan? I think that's Billy Corgan, isn't it? But yeah, look at that, right? And you can have reflected light, that's fine, but it's not blowing out the portrait. So this is much more helpful. Like, model lighting is going to be the opposite. Here, I'll do another. Here, I'll do another one so you can get an idea. Like, they blow it out like this, right? So you see, like, dark nostrils and dark things like that. Like, but you don't really get an idea of what their facial structure looks like. There's some that are even worse than that are like super blown out. It's like kind of hard. These are all not horrible actually, and there's a little bit more. Like, that's pretty good. Like, you can see, like, you only have a little bit of shadows on the side of the face. Look at the difference in understanding the structure there. If you try to draw the eyes and the nose on this, it will probably look flat. That is like, you can see every little bit of structure. So anyways, hopefully that makes sense. And then, you know, you can, if you learn that, you can effectively disturb people with monsters like I've done here. So that's the idea. Yeah, and it's not that lighting is the main lighting source. Like, you can do all sorts of lighting sources, and you can do all sorts of things. You know, like, there's no rules. Like, and there's not one better lighting than another or something like that. But I think in terms of trying to learn a texture where you can see the lights and the darks more clearly, that's going to be key. That's going to be key. So, yeah. So hopefully that helps. Yeah, bounce light seems to have less value because you want... Yeah, yes. Yeah, it's... So the bounce light, if it's controlled, it's great. It will actually enhance the form. But when it goes out of whack is when there's so much bounce light, that's when it starts to be like, it's not so useful. Oh, okay. Shaded thorns, I'm with you. A touch of rancid jewel and open festering wounds. I'll keep going on this one. I'll keep going on this one later. Like a different time. I'll finish it up, and yeah, I think we'll get it there. We'll get it there. I want to try to make you know, make my wife proud, you know. Well, she like, my mom and my wife, when they see this, they're like, "What's wrong with you?" You know. But you know, no, you know who I need to make Justin Gerard proud. I need to make him proud. You know. You know, we're all trying to, when it comes to monsters and creatures and things like that, we're all trying to get to his level. That's like, you know, it's all, he's like the master. He's one of the masters. So good to catch you guys all again. Good to see you again. Addicted to life. Okay, let's see. Any other questions? I think you're good. Awesome. Good. You took loads of notes. That's what I like to hear. Awesome. You guys have absolutely been fantastic. I've loved doing this. You got great questions, great interaction. And remember, I will see you guys tonight at 6:30 PST, 3 hours from now, 3 hours 15 minutes from now. I'll be drawing with the inimitable Bobby Chiu. Then tomorrow I will be doing from 1 to 2 PST. I'll be doing the Captain Crunch portrait. Sunday I'll be doing my son Sam's portrait. I'm going to be doing that sort of a la Prima style. 10 to 1 PST, and that's when I'll be giving away some stuff. So, awesome, guys. Thank you so much for stopping by. You guys are awesome. Make sure you follow me here on Twitch. You know, you can check me out on Instagram. It's just John Hardesty. You can see all that. I'll bring it up here when I bring this end up. But you guys rock. Great questions, great interaction, and we did it. We made a disturbing monster with some textures. Let's give ourselves a hand. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you, guys. Enjoy. You know, if I don't see you guys in other streams that I'm doing, enjoy the rest of Lightbox. Soak it all in. You know, we're living in a good time. We can have this much information thrown at us. It's glorious. So enjoy it, guys. I'll catch you guys later.